What's up, Barnhill family, and welcome back to another Barnhill Brothers live stream. This time we are talking UFC Serbia, and I'm liking it, guys, because it's the second weekend in a row where we have had a fight night event happen in the afternoon here in the United States. Let me get this volume down on my computer so we're not having an echo here. And yeah, a lot of fun stuff happening so far. I think all finishes, most of them first round. Were there any decisions on that last? Let me see, Chris. Need to pull it up. I was getting myself ready. I had to take a shower, so I missed the flyweight. That would be the only one that could have potentially went to decision. And yes, sure enough, it did. Borislav Nikolic getting it done by decision. But other than that, I mean, first round knockout after first round knockout, starting the night off with Mariana Spasic, getting knocked out by submitted by Stephanie Luciano. A little bit dicey there on the feet for Mariana early on. She was having some success finding her jab, finding her range, but ultimately Luciano was able to get the fight to the ground, match her with the intensity a little bit on the striking, and then, take the fight where she had the real advantage, which is the ground game, and got her second submission win of her pro career. Jovan Leka, this guy's a problem. 24 years old. Lots of power in his hands, good grappling as well, had some nice submission wins on the regional scene. No submission necessary tonight. He took out Alexander Popic, P-O-P-P-E-C-K, Alexander Popic with a brutal TKO. And this guy has power in both hands, good ground and pound, good finishing skills. Nina Milicevic, KO round one. Matus Rebecki, KO round one. Bogdangrad submission round two. Of course, we had the decision at bantamweight tonight. Borislav Nikolic, Mark Vologdan at bantamweight. And then Michael Oliveira. Talk about a blue chip prospect. Now 10-0, knocking Oban Elliott down with a jab and then finishing with a beautiful, what was sort of a straight two modified overhand. Good finishing instincts on the ground. And then Tafik Musayev getting the win over the returning Ludovic Klein. Really, really good stuff out of him as well. So, yeah, guys, I'm actually hitting live. You'll see my phone here on the screen. I'm going live on TikTok as well, so we can react to the fight night both on TikTok and over here on YouTube, as well as X. And we're not on Facebook anymore, are we, Chris? We had some sort of technical difficulty with that, huh?
Yeah, no Facebook.
Yeah, no Facebook, but X, Kick, TikTok, and YouTube. So wherever you're watching from, I sincerely appreciate it. We're going to be here for the entirety of the main card of UFC Serbia, and hopefully we get some bangers just like we did on the prelims. What's up, Based Volk? How are you, my friend? Good to have you here. Looks like we got a few popping in on TikTok. Tony Ramirez, Kellen, thank you guys for joining. Sue, thank you for joining. Guys, we are talking UFC Serbia. I couldn't figure out how to get on TikTok here, text on the screen, but UFC Serbia, watch along, hang out with me, watch the fights. I'm going to have the time clock up on the screen over here on the big screen. And yeah, what was y'all's favorite fight of the night so far? I think it was fight of the night. The bantamweight fight was really good. But performance of the night so far has to go to Michael Oliveira for me. That guy is next level, with a, close second being Jovan Leka, but again, fighting a light heavyweight on short notice. So not really as impressive as what Oliveira did to Oban Elliott, but still very impressive nonetheless. Thank you guys for joining, by the way. Drop a comment. Let me know where you're watching from. We're going to be hanging out for the entirety of UFC Belgrade here, which on what has been an absolute banger of a card so far. Only one decision, and that fight was a good fight. Really, really good fight, but all finishes, nice balance of subs and KOs. Here we go. Time clock starting, guys. Round number one for Janicic versus Gunyan. So far, the hometown guys have been having a pretty good night so far, with the exception of the opener. Shout out Stephanie Luciano getting the submission win. Looks like Janicic is a little bit tender on the. Something happened with Janicic's left foot right out of the gate, almost in the opening exchange. Something's definitely not right here. So let's see if Gunyan can take advantage of that. Yeah, he's going to swing for the fences here. He's clearly on tender legs, but he's landing some shots. Oh, yeah, now he's on the ground. Up kicks. He's trying to hang in there and do what he can, but there's clearly a massive problem with his lead leg. Just about 1 minute into this fight already. Based Volk said his leg is twitching. Yeah, he's having a real hard time standing. I don't know what happened there. It looked like it happened off the first exchange. Maybe if we get to the break in between rounds, maybe we'll get a replay, but it doesn't look like it's going that way. Gunyan already on the back. Janicic scrambling well, though. Gunyan, rear naked choke is pretty deep at this point, and there's the tap. Gunyan, first round submission on the injured Janicic. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happened there. Shout out, Ronnie. Welcome to the chat. Thank you so much for being here. Shout out everybody watching on TikTok. We appreciate you guys as well. Let me know on TikTok if you can hear me okay. And Johnny says, Jake Paul going to make Dana White have sleepless nights. Yeah, you know, it's going to take a few years, man. I think, and I've said this before many, many times on this show, that the UFC could potentially have a competitor at some point, but they have to do it by stealing the talent of tomorrow. You can't just take these like bigger names that are past their primes and like a Francis Ngannou even and put on like a one night sort of event. What you have to do is you have to go out and say who's 16, 17, 18, up to like, let's say 23, 24 years old, that's really, really good, really promising, and basically sign them with a better opportunity and career path than the UFC is signing them for. And that's sort of your ticket to getting, you know, the talent of tomorrow, because the fans will really, we know what we're looking at, right? And if we're looking at the highest level talent, we know it. And so if they can tell the story and get the talent, then it could be a pretty big deal for the PFL and MVP as far as this merger goes. Let me know in the chat what you guys think about the merger. I'm excited. Whenever there's competition, I'm always happy to see it. I think it's Fighter Pays, a song that we all kind of sing, isn't it? And this gives them the opportunity to get more money and have more opportunities. So I'm all for it. Fleddy in the chat, yo. And Jay, dude, what's up, Jay? Good to have you in the chat, my friend. Bellator used the tactic only once, but flopped, exactly like Aaron Pico. Yeah. But you know, that they have to build like a stable. You know, it can't just be like a one-off. You have to get like 50% of the upcoming talent and then put together really banger matchups. And that's what will you know, kind of allow them to be competitive. Also, Scott Coker in the space again raised something like $100 million to do some sort of Grand Prix thing that's supposed to start in 2027. We'll see what that's all about. But yeah, since we got so many in the chat, drop a comment and let me know what's been your favorite fight of the night so far. I'm going to put a poll in the chat here on YouTube for the next one. Chepo versus Urbina. Who wins this next one? Who wins fight 2 on the main? Chepo or Urbina? Interested to see what you guys think. UFC should just buy all the other MMA promotions. Yeah, I mean, I don't think that's the intent that Jake Paul has, though. I think he's wanting to be a legit competitor. But the UFC bought up Strikeforce, they bought up WEC, so it's not unprecedented, that's for sure. 3 things that are going against the UFC are ticket prices, too many events, and questionable matchmaking. Yeah, the thing about the events is they've committed to that. They've committed to Paramount, and they're for better or for worse, we're going to get 44 events, so they have to have enough talent. But, you know, even on nights like tonight, I saw a lot of people complaining about this particular Serbia card where they said, hey, this is not a good fight card. There's not got a lot of good name recognition, but literally the majority of the fights on this card have been first round finishes, brutal KOs, really slick subs, literally only 1 decision on the card so far. So, you know, sometimes these fight nights that are, you know, maybe not so name heavy, like as far as name recognition goes, end up being great fight cards. Ronnie says, where's Nick? He will be here after the main event, my friend. He may make it in time for the main event. He had something going on this morning, but him and I will do an immediate recap of the fights as soon as the main event wraps and the winning fighter is interviewed in the octagon, we'll cut this live stream and we'll go live again. And we will do an immediate thoughts and recap on the entire main card. Based Volk said this has been a good fight night so far. I couldn't agree more. Could not agree more. And thank you for everybody on TikTok. I appreciate y'all being here as well. We are watching along to the UFC Serbia fight. I was trying to put a thing on the screen that said what exactly I was talking about, but technology is not my strong suit. I couldn't figure out how to do it. But let's see here. Sometimes the best cards don't have the most notable names. Could not agree more, Fletty. J-Dude says UFC needs to shave down their roster a bit. I feel like they've watered down their product compared to 2013 to 2017. Yeah, if you're having to put on 44 fights in a year, you're excuse me, guys. Sorry about that. Silencing my phone here. Yeah, if you're talking about 44 fights in a year and you're talking about, what is it, 14 fights per card, that's 28 fighters per card. I don't know, somebody in this chat's got to be better at math than me. And then you got to offer each fighter 3 fights a year. So yeah, it's a tough proposition. Have you seen new fights leaked? No, Base Volk, I have not. I woke up this morning, had breakfast with my son, and then him and I chilled together on the couch and watched the first 3 or 4 fights. And then I started to get myself ready to come to Chris's house for the recording today. So if there was an announcement, I probably missed it during a commercial break or when I was getting myself ready or something. But drop the news, please. Let's see what's out there. Let me get to Ronnie real quick. Shout out to Ronnie for the donation. Thank you very much, my friend. 2026 Josh Hokett versus a 2016 31-year-old Derek Lewis. Man, I think that Josh Hokett's really good. Derek is, as you know, you've been watching our videos for a little while. Like, we know Derek, he trains out of our gym in Houston. He's a friend. And so I like him. And as much as I'd love to say Derek, I don't think it's realistic. Derek is a very heavy-handed puncher, pretty raw, but extreme power, God-given power. And he can find the shots to land it well. But Josh Hokett right now is fast. He's got a great jab. He's got good straight punch combinations. He can wrestle. He can, present you with problems as far as top pressure is concerned. So, yeah, I would go Josh Hokett on this. Let me know in the chat what you guys think. Josh Hokett and TikTok, you guys can get along on this as well if you want to. Josh Hokett versus Derek Lewis, but 2026 Josh Hokett or 2016 Derek Lewis. So a 31-year-old Derek. Let's see here. Was there a fight announced? Did somebody just drop it? Oh, okay. UFC 331. Pantoja versus Van and Armand versus Charles co-main, and Noche main event is Jan Silva versus Yair Rodriguez. Man, that is news to me. Like I said, I always end up missing like the last 1 or 2 on the prelims when I do these live streams because I get myself ready and then I have to drive over to the studio. So I must have missed that in the shuffle. But those are great fights. So Armand finally has a fight, right? It's going to be for the BMF. Would love for it to be for the Undisputed, but I'm not upset about the BMF. The only thing is it could potentially tie the BMF to the Undisputed. If he wins and then, he becomes the Undisputed, then there would be no separation between the 2 belts. So, but I think it's a great fight. Really excited for that. Pantoja versus Van, that's a no-brainer. That's what they needed to make. And then the main event for Noche is Lord Silva versus Yair Rodriguez. Love that fight as well. And that pretty much tells me that we're getting a Volk versus Mobsar announcement at some point in time. What would that be? Probably UFC 333. Is that what they're talking about for Volk, or is it 332? Let's see here. Okay, 2007 Rampage Jackson versus current number 4 light heavyweight Paulo Costa. Now, you're having me go way back again, Ronnie. So before I give you my answer, I'm going to Rampage Jackson. Quentin Jackson. By the way, Chris, I heard that there was some drama between Rampage and the Jackson podcast and Bear and those guys. Did you hear about that, or what happened?
No clue.
I don't. Anyways, maybe I'm spreading a rumor, but I'd love to know.
His name just had his wedding though the other guy.
Bear, yeah.
And I didn't see Rampage in any of the pictures, but maybe he was there just not shown on camera.
Okay, 2007 Rampage knocked out Marvin Eastman, knocked out Chuck Liddell at UFC 71, and decisioned Dan Henderson. So this is prime Rampage, 2007. How old is Rampage now? Rampage Jackson is currently 48. So how old would he have been in 20 years ago, give or take? He would have been 29. Yeah, I think oh man, Paulo looks really good at light heavyweight, doesn't he? But he knocked out the Iceman. So I got to go Rampage Jackson. I'm going against, I know how Nick picks these. Nick always goes with the newer fighter, but sometimes I think that these fighters have these generational runs at certain times. So, I mean, to knock out Chuck Liddell, that's serious business. So I got to go Rampage Jackson. What do you think? So Based Volk is agreeing with me. I'm going Rampage. I believe 333 is a rumored Volk card. Yeah, that's what I'm hearing too, Based. So let's hope that's true. Let's hope that's true. Thank you guys for all the love in the chat, by the way. We appreciate it. We are watching UFC Serbia here. So feel free to drop a comment and let me know where you're watching from. Let me know what's been your favorite fight of the night so far. Who, if we were calling it right now, who would get the bonuses? Mine would for sure go to Michael Oliveira. So yeah, welcome everybody. Has Paulo Costa fought anyone with Rampage type KO power? Good question, Ronnie. Let's see here. Let's look at Paulo Costa. Paulo Costa, and if we go to his Tapology, let's see here. Sometimes you watch so many fights, it's hard to remember. Okay, so let's start with, came into the UFC against Gareth McClellan, 2017. So he's been in the UFC almost a decade. Let's see. Johnny Hendricks, Uriah Hall. Yoel Romero, he beat Yoel. So Yoel does have very heavy hands. Luke Rockhold, he beat Luke Rockhold. Rockhold's not like the sharpest one-punch KO guy, but he definitely has power. But that was, an aging Luke Rockhold that wasn't at his best. Lost to Izzy, lost to Vettori, lost to Whitaker, lost to Strickland. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say no. He's never fought somebody with the type of one-punch KO power as Rampage Jackson, maybe with the exception of Romero. But that fight wasn't all that great either. So thanks for the question, Ronnie. I really appreciate it. And thank you for the donation, my friend. Much, much appreciated. Hope you're enjoying the fights. Let's see here. I think that on every numbered card, they should reveal the card for the next numbered one. That way it keeps fans engaged. Yeah, I agree. Like sometimes it's just like, I feel like we're left out in no man's land. Like, is there going to ever be a fight announcement? And then sometimes they come out and announce a whole quarter's worth of fights in one day. So it's kind of a weird thing that the UFC has going on. I'm going to back up just a little bit, guys. Let me know if you can still hear me or if I look good in the frame here. I was sitting too far forward up there. All right, guys. So we got Vlasto Chepo versus Gilbert Urbina here. So in the chat so far, 71% of you are taking Chepo and 29% for Urbina. So this is going to be, interesting. Gilbert Urbina has definitely fought the better opposition. Vlasto Chepo, though, this guy is kind of like a local celebrity when it comes to Serbia. This guy got a massive pop at the weigh-ins. He seems to be a big star over there. I don't know what his deal is prior to the UFC, but he seems to be a pretty big star. Let's see. Let's go Urbina, says Fleddy. Yeah. Urbina needs a win here, man. He really does. We got 9 votes in the chat right now, and we got 78% for Chepo and 22% for Urbina. Let me know, guys. Drop a comment on TikTok as well. Who do you think is going to win this one, Vlasto Chepo or Gilbert Urbina, and what do you think the method of victory is going to be? So we have 173 seconds of advertisements on Paramount Plus, which means we're not getting the walkouts on this one, unfortunately.
Did you see somebody argue that Tyrell Fortune during all these advertisements is when he told his coaches, my ribs is broken or whatever. People are arguing I should know that as somebody who's got some skin in it. You know what I mean?
For sure. We got Moneyball in the chat. What's up, Moneyball? Great call, Musayev. Yeah, that was my dog pick. He was my underdog pick of the week, but thanks to you, Moneyball, I'm doing well today. I have been cashing on Kalshi with some of your picks. So, guys, we got Moneyball in the chat. Show her some love. Her and I do a Thursday evening at 7 p.m. Central deep dive breakdown of every card. We start with the prelims or the early prelims if they have them, and we go all the way to the main event, and we give specific predictions for each card. And then at the end of that, Moneyball gives her actual slips. She shows the receipts, as it were, of what she's actually taking action on, and she's been crushing lately. But she's given me some props for the Musayev because I called that one and she called Ludovic. But she's usually more right than I am. So I'm like a broken clock, as they say. I'm right twice a day. We got Mike Yang in the chat. Chepo round 2. What's up, Mike? Thanks for joining. What's up, Money? Meant to say Chepo. Cool. And then, all right, Ronnie, let's pop this one up there. (2013) Anthony Pettis versus 2026 Patty Pimblett. Man, that's a good one. So Pettis in 13, that's Wheaties box Pettis. Let me go to Tapology and look at 2013 Showtime Pettis. I'm a big Showtime fan, man. The Showtime kick, that may be one of the sickest things that's ever been landed inside of the UFC's octagon. It's crazy how young he still is. He's only 39 years old. Let's see. 2013 was the year, right, Chris?
Yes, 2013 versus current Patty.
Okay. 2013, he body kicked Donald Cerrone for a finish. He submitted Benson Henderson via armbar. He submitted Gilbert Melendez. Oh, no. So I'm going to pop this one in there. No, actually, I'm not, because it's the end of 2014. So he only had 2 fights in 2013. KO Donald Cerrone, submission of Benson Henderson. That's legit, man. Patty's really good, though. You know, this may be one of those ones where I tend to agree with Nick that the game is evolving. But you got to, and then his next fight after that was a submission of Gilbert Melendez, who's a really good high-level black belt too. So that's this may be the hardest one you've given me yet, Ronnie. But maybe there's recency bias to it, but that just absolute quick dismantling of BSD. I think I got to go Patty on this one. Who are you guys taking? All right, we got Vlasto Chepo entering the octagon right now. And yeah, I'm going to go final prediction on that, or final call on that one, rather, Ronnie. Patty Pimblett. And guys, by the way, we got just over, how many total in the chat, Chris? 44 in the chat. I have a big announcement for you guys. Your boy, yours truly, Stephen Barnhill, I have my first paid live commentary gig for an MMA fight. Next weekend, I am being brought out to Lake Charles, Louisiana, and I'm going to be cage side with a guy by the name of TJ DeSantis. He's got a show on Fight Pass. He's been calling fights for a very long time, OG of the game. And I am going to be his commentary partner. So it's going to be my first ever sit cage side and commentate live as the fights are happening. The first ever experience doing this, looking to build my resume. As you guys know, that's something I've been looking to get into for a little while. So very excited about that. And yeah, if you guys are around, I will have more information. I think it's called the Clear Life Combat app, and it may be on Facebook as well. It's Ragin, RAGIN FC Fighting Championship. So Ragin Fighting Championships next Saturday, 6 p.m., August the 8th. Yours truly, your boy Stephen Barnhill, cage side, giving commentary. So congrats from Based, Fletty, Moneyball. Thank you all so much. Yeah, I'm very excited about it. It was it all transpired yesterday. I got the call and the offer was made. Of course, I accepted. And yeah, I mean, this is like, it's one of the things that I've wanted to get into for a while. So building my resume, cutting my teeth on the regional scene, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a challenge. one that I am very much looking forward to. Base said we're going to have to tune in with no companion to watch. Yeah, unfortunately, so we're still working that out. Based, so Nick will be here because he's got some stuff going on in Houston. So maybe stay tuned for that, because you may be able to catch both, because the fights are early again next weekend, and then I'm not going on until 6 p.m. In Louisiana. So I think that Nick may have a special guest. Stay tuned. He mentioned something about that yesterday to me when we talked on the phone about it. So you may still get Nick on a fight companion with the special guest, and then you'll get me come Saturday night at 6 p.m. Central Time. So Logan says, good for you, pimp. Well deserved. Thank you so much, my friend. I really appreciate that. Thank you, Ronnie. Yeah, thanks, everybody. I appreciate it. All right, guys, we are into this fight, so let's call it. Vlasto Chepo looking to swing right out of the gate. Gilbert Urbina back against the Prince. Vlasto not really setting up much. He's just throwing big haymakers. Little bit of feinting, but it's just all power shots. He's looking to end this one early. He could get caught here, though. He's stepping up in competition. You know, the UFC is a different thing than the regional scene, but Gilbert Urbina has been chinned. He is a little bit on the chinny side, if I'm being honest. Oh, Gilbert Urbina just landed a big one. Yep, this is going to be problematic. You know, you can't just come out, so you have to respect your opponents on the big stage. Wow. Yeah, Chepo needs to do something here. Gilbert Urbina sort of was in the half guard position. Chepo just shelling up. Goddard looking on very intently. Big elbows for Urbina, and that's the fight. First round knockout, 3 minutes, 59 seconds. Vlasto Chepo losing to Gilbert Urbina. Wow. Yeah, you have to respect your opponent, right? Let's see here. Looking at the chat real quick. Special guest Hasbullah's debut on the channel. Yeah, you guessed it, Volk. Hasbullah will be here in person. Well, this isn't making round 2 for sure. Got caught, says Kat. Yeah. You know, no respect to his opponent. You can't do that on the big show. What a fight that was fast. Yeah. Wasn't he a big underdog? Urbina was a big underdog. Chepo was a big favorite. And yeah, that's what happens when you don't show respect to your opponents in the UFC. He came out just throwing. He didn't set anything up, just throwing big bombs. And yeah, you can't do that. You can't do that on the big show, ladies and gentlemen, or you will end up just like Vlasto Chepo just ended up. Michael Chiesa called that perfectly. Yeah, good call for Michael. So, yeah, shout out to everybody in the chat. And I know that one busted up a lot of parlays. Yeah, Fleddy said, glad I didn't place any parlays. Yeah, that one, unfortunately, I wish I could say the same, Fleddy, but Vlasto just kind of bit me a little bit. Let's see. Well, I picked Urbina to win, and it happened in the very first minute. Yeah, really good call there, Cap. You know, Urbina is a good fighter. You know, he's lost to really high-level guys. He's gotten knocked out, and he does have a little bit of chin susceptibility. But, you know, when you come in on a guy who's a current UFC fighter and, you know, has some wins, has some losses, but has been around the block a time or two, and you don't show him any respect, and you just start throwing shots with no setups, no feinting, no jabbing, you're going to eventually get caught. And that's exactly what happened to Vlasto Chepo. Yeah, Mike Yang says Chepo's hands were low, basic boxing 101. And Moneyball says, yep, parlay killed. Yeah, Vlasto, he laid an egg there. That was no fun. No fun. Let me end that poll because that is no longer relevant. Let's go. Dusko Tudorovic versus Robert Valentin. Let's see here. I'll put another poll up in the chat real quick. Who wins this next one? Valentin. Or you're going to have to put that on the screen, Chris, for the spelling. The next fight, yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm not even going to. Dusko Tudorovic, yeah. El Chapo got chomped, says Kat. Yeah. There we go. Tudorovic.
You got the names?
Yep.
Cool.
There we go. All right, guys. Next poll is up in the chat. Shout out to everybody. We had about 23 in here a second ago. All right, Mark Goddard about to raise the hand of Gilbert Urbina. 3 minutes, 59 seconds remaining in the first round. Good stuff out of Gilbert Urbina. Mike Yang says, speaking of boxing, are you watching the Zepeda versus Roach Jr. card? No. What time is that on? Let me see. Zepeda versus Roach. August. Is it happening right now? Mike, is that fight going on right now, or is it later on? I would like to see that, but the way the TV is set up here, I only have the ability to have one thing on at the time, unfortunately. And yeah, let's see. What's up, Brian? Thank you for joining the live. Chep is off rounds. It was very clear his body looked different. He had less energy. Octagon didn't start testing until I think he meant to say off roids. Yeah, his body did look really different, man. I noticed that at the weigh-ins yesterday, and I was like, I'm not gonna lean too much into it. Maybe I should have, but yeah, good call on that, Brian. His body looked totally different. So yeah, Urbina now on the mic shouting everybody out. Jackson Wink getting it done. Gilbert. So I guess he's over at Jackson Wink. Moneyball, I think when we talked about Urbina, we mentioned that he's from South Texas, and his fellow Texans, there's not a whole lot going on down near the border as far as MMA is concerned. So, I guess he made the transition over to Jackson Wink, and maybe that's been the improvement there. 2010 Overeem versus 16 Cyril Gahn. Immediately, what popped in my head is Ubereem. But let me look at 2010 Overeem. Thank you very much again, my friend. Overeem. Let me check Tapology here. All right. 2010. Okay, he was in Strike Force at that point in time. So knocked out Brett Rogers, knocked out Todd Duffy, decisioned Fabricio Verdum, and sent Brock Lesnar's liver into the stratosphere. Yeah, I'm going to go Ubereem. That was that was a different time, man. I like Gahn. He's good, but I think Alistair Ubereem, when he was sauced out of his mind, would have been a problem for the unjuiced Cyril Gahn. Now, if Cyril Gahn can juice, maybe that's a different story. But if we're talking about just as it were, I got to go Overeem on that one. Alistair in 2010 won the K1 Grand Prix. He beat high-level kickboxers. Yeah, I was good point, Ronnie. I was looking at MMA only. Tyrone Sponge, Peter Airtas, and how do you pronounce this? Gokhan Saki in one night? Yeah, let me go to the kick. That's a good point, because I was just thinking MMA to MMA, so I was looking at mixed martial arts record. Let's go to kickboxing. 2000. Okay, here we got a fight announcement coming up Saturday, September 19th. Let's see what it is. Crypto Arena, UFC 331. Or no, that was the 31 is the Armand versus Charles, right? So just okay, so let's see here. Where is over? Okay. I'm looking at the tournament here. Yeah, beat Ben Edwards in the opening round. KO round 1, decision Tyrone Sponge, KO round 1 Gokhan Saki, KO round 1 Peter Airtas and he is yeah. So that plus the MMA stuff, man, you kind of got to go. Alistair, in my opinion. Let's see though. Cyril all day Bon Gamin with the basketball emojis. I like it. Yeah, we got some debate going on here in the chat. Mike Yang main card starts at 6:30 p.m. Thank you very much. Yeah, I will definitely check that out this evening. Thank you. Yeah, that's going to be a good fight. All right, guys, UFC Belgrade. This has been fun so far. Some really, really good first round finishes. Let's see here. How many? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 first round finishes, and we're on a 14. So even if every other fight wasn't a first round finish, we still have on a 14 fight card 50% first round finish, which is pretty incredible. Yo, Nick, what's up, man? Welcome to the chat. We got Nick in the chat. Nick, answer this one for me. 2010 Uberim winning the K1 Grand Prix and blasting Brock Lesnar's liver into oblivion, or current day Cyril Gane? Klein versus Messiah, fight of the night so far, says Kat. Yeah, that's a good one for fight of the night. I think so. The bantamweight fight that went to decision, the Borislav Nikolic versus Mark Vologden, that was a good fight, a little back and forth. But yeah, I think you're right. Probably the Klein Messiah was fight of the night. That was a really good fight. So yeah, guys, we got 20 in the chat now. Thank you all so much for being here. We're live as well on TikTok. So trying something new out tonight, guys, trying to expand our reach a little bit. Yo, Roman Reigns, says Based Volk. Yeah, we got Roman Reigns in the flesh, a.k.a. Nick Barnhill, or Seth Rollins, whichever floats your boat. But he kind of looks like both of them. They kind of look like each other. Let's see. I'm aware of the never-ending skill raising in today's fighters, but I believe there are exceptions to past fighters for being able to compete with today's fighters. Yes, I do agree with that as well, Ronnie. Maybe more so than Nick. Uberim, let's see, Nick may agree with you here. Uberim, juicy and all, is possibly the scariest heavyweight of all time. Him versus Gane today. Gane today goes hard. I'd say Gane, but I'd be pulling for Alistair. I thought you were getting there, Nick. I thought you were going to say Uberim. I'd go Vologden for fight of the night. Yeah. Tomorrow night, SummerSlam night 2. Here we go. Let's go. All right. I think my computer froze up here, Chris. Let me see. All right. Robert Valentin, Dusko Todorovic. Valentin now the -170 favorite. Todorovic a +145 dog here. Guys, let me know in the chat if I'm coming through choppy or grainy. It may just be the internet here at Chris's house, but I'm having a hard time with the keeping the stream on. But if you guys can see me, then we're good. Not just someone, Tony Ferguson. There we go. All right, let's see. How are we looking in the chat? It's really heavy for Robert Valentin in the chat, 83% to 17%. So very, very heavy on the Robert Valentin. I'm curious, what do you guys think he's going to do to get the job done? You think it's going to be a submission, some ground and pound? Are we getting a decision? Or are we going to keep that finish streak going? No issues from over here. Thank you, Based Volk. I appreciate it, man. All right, here we go, guys. I feel like these commercials are never ending. But yeah, Ronnie, that was a really good question, man. 2010 Alistair Overeem. He was a beast, man. USADA completely changed the game on his deal, but boy, that was fun when he was Uberim, that's for sure. Man, these advertisements are killing me, guys. I don't know how many of y'all are watching on Paramount Plus, or I know a few of you in the chat are over in the UK, but it's literally like 200 seconds worth of advertisements still counting down. And the worst part is they show you the clock, so you know exactly how much longer we have here.
Who was y'all's pick for this one on the Thursday?
I picked Todorovic. I can't remember. Moneyball, if you're still in the chat, did you pick Valentin or Todorovic? I can't remember. And then Kat says, I guess we're going to see another finish. Maybe so. Maybe so. All right, guys. We got 22 in the chat now. Thank y'all all so much. And for those of you that are just joining the chat or may have not heard my announcement earlier, I'm getting my first live commentary gig with Raging FC next Saturday, August 8th, 6 p.m. I will be cage side with a gentleman by the name of TJ DeSantis. He's got a show on UFC Fight Pass. Him and I will be doing live commentary of the fights. There's going to be like, I think 7 or 8 pro fights, maybe a few more than that. And yeah, I'll be doing live commentary. I don't know if I'll be doing the in the octagon interviews afterwards. Sometimes they've had their president do the interviews and the other gentleman that I'll be with. But yeah, I don't know how that's going to go, but I will be for sure. So I don't know if you'll see me on camera necessarily, but you will definitely hear me giving live commentary on the fight. This is my first one, so I'm really looking forward to it, and would appreciate all of y'all's support. It would mean the world. I will throughout the week, I'll put some links in the chat for as well as like in the descriptions and stuff for how you can watch. I have a call with them on Monday to figure all that out, but should be a lot of fun, and I'm excited to see you guys there. Okay, Moneyball picked Todorovic as well.
I'm counting on y'all. Just put my call sheet on that one.
Chris just took some action on that one. But Base Volk is 8 for 8 on the prelims and 0-2 on the main card. Yeah, that's how it goes sometimes. Sometimes you have a good start, and then the cold streak just hits you like a ton of bricks. All right, guys, we are coming up on 57 seconds left on the advertisement. Kat, SK, congrats, man. I guess it's just the start of a wonderful journey. All the best. Thank you so much, my friend. I really do appreciate that. It's something I've wanted to do for a while. We've had this channel for several years now, and we've done the commentary like I'm doing right now, just watching and calling the fights and hanging out with you guys. But doing it live, doing it in an event, and actually building my resume in that, who knows where it'll go. But I'd love to see if I can build it into something that could be, working with bigger organizations. So I'm very excited for that. Thank you very much. Let's go. Valentine says Fletty. Based Volk has got Valentine. So looking like I'm going to be 0-3 if you guys are right. Well, I haven't been great on the main card either, Base, to be honest. I was pretty good on the prelims. Let me see. Did I go 100% on the prelims? Yeah, I did Musayev, Oliveira, Nikolic, Grad, Rebecki. Yes, I went 100% on the prelims as well. I should have comboed that. I should have done a prelim combo, Chris.
Yeah, because you had some underdogs, right?
Yeah. Musayev was my only underdog, but
it still, with that many fights, that one underdog can really boost the...
For sure. All right. What's up, everybody on TikTok as well? Thank you guys for joining. Appreciate you all being here. Yeah, Moneyball says you were 100 on the prelims. Yeah. Thank you. And there was just the Ludovic Klein one that messed you up, Moneyball. That was it. But I mean, that to me was a 50-50, and I literally went Musayev because I just didn't know how Klein would return after the injury, and so it was just an unknown for me, and I just had to go the other way. But Ludovic Klein wasn't a bad pick, but I also kind of was maybe in a selfish way trying to find a dog to pick on the prelims, and I thought he was the best one. So, yeah. I think we were all perfect on the prelims, but nothing on the main. Yeah. Nick took a fall on one of my 2 Kalshi combos. Good thing I got another one still going strong. Just need Medić and Sterling to win, and we 18x. Whoa. Nick, drop that combo. What was that one? All right, here we go, guys. Buff is finally announcing these guys after what seems like an eternity. But I guess they have to kill time, right? We have had so many early knockouts and early finishes that they've got to, kill time in between these fights or it's going to be over quick. Moneyball, could it be an idea if you say your usual bet is $10 when you do your next week's prediction, say how much you would have lost off of last week's bets? That's an interesting question there, Based. And one thing that I think we're going to start doing, and Moneyball, I wanted to talk to you about this too. Might as well just ask you now. But we probably should put together a recap. Like the first thing we should do on Thursday is like recap the week prior, and then with the star bets, and then recap how many. Whoa, big body kick right out of the gate for Valentin. I'll shut up after this and we'll call the fight, and then talk about, how we did last week, how we've done so far, and then how the star bets performed. I think that would, be interesting right out of the gate. So we've got Todorovic or Valentin with a strong guillotine, looking to get that mounted position. Todorovic is scrambling well, looking to build that butterfly guard. And Ronnie, I see you there. I will answer that one as soon as we get to a break in the rounds here. Thank you again so much, my friend. All right, Todorovic is out of the guillotine attempt, sitting in half guard, kind of a loose half guard. He probably should tighten that up a little bit, or Valentin's going to pass unless he's comfortable just being here, working head position. Okay, getting a little bit better for Todorovic. He's got one butterfly hook in and, basically one leg wrapped around. Will he go for a sweep? Will he lock up the full guard? We'll see here in a second. Kind of breaking the posture of Valentin. Looks like he's using that butterfly hook to elevate Valentin and get himself a sweep, which would be the right thing. You don't want to be on the bottom here. Let's see, Valentin doing a good job of putting weight on that butterfly hook to kind of negate it a little bit and flatten it out. So let's see what okay, Valentin got Todorovic up against the cage now. Todorovic framing out with his leg, looking to wrestle up. Valentin sprawls on top of him. Todorovic still reaching for that double, but there's really not a whole lot there. Valentin's got his hips back pretty good. Getting a little better for Todorovic. See if he can clasp those hands underneath the legs of Robert Valentin. Okay, he does. He gets a takedown of his own, but he's in a guillotine. We're still seeing a lot of the elbow exposed of Robert Valentin, so it's not... When that elbow starts to bury itself deep near the chin, that's when you worry about the guillotine. It's really not doing anything right now other than just being annoying to Todorovic. Yeah, I honestly, that's kind of like a wasted energy, in my opinion, to flex your arms like that, squeeze like that, when there's a 0% chance you're going to finish a guillotine from that positioning. Yeah, so, yeah, Valentin, the better thing probably to do is get that elbow inside the face of, there he goes, working a sweep of his own. Nice sweep there by Robert Valentin. And then Todorovic sort of looking for a triangle, but he's got to get that hand. He's got to keep one hand in and push the other one out. Let's see. No, just back to full guard. Breaking the posture of Robert Valentin, but still losing these minutes. Yeah, really just doing nothing other than keeping the posture of Valentin broken down. A few attempts he's got some crazy flexibility though. But yeah, Valentin popped out of that. Now Todorovic is sort of turtled up. Valentin looking for sort of a reversal of the turtle position here. There's actually a really cool roll that you can do here. We're just drilling that, funny enough, in jiu-jitsu class yesterday, where you basically roll the person, you lock up a pretty strong grip, roll the person over top of you, and then there's a head and arm triangle from there. Beautiful guillotine again for Valentin. Let's see here. This one's tight. Yep, tap. Robert Valentin with the beautiful guillotine tap. Some really nice grappling in that fight. Yeah, shout out to Robert Valentin. I know a few of y'all really heavy in the chat. 75% of you picked Valentin, so props to y'all. Can you put Ronnie's thing up here now?
Oh yeah.
All right. Let's see here. Thank you again, Ronnie. And let's see, 2009 light heavyweight Anderson Silva versus 2021 Light heavyweight, Israel Adesanya. Okay, so light heavyweight. Let's see. Let me go to Anderson. Let's take a look at Silva, shall we? In what year did he say, Chris?
2021 and 2009.
2009. Okay. Now, which one of these were light heavyweight, though? Yeah, these were all okay. So Forrest Griffin, KO, round 1, light heavyweight. And then Forrest tested positive for illegal substances. So he only had one. The other two against Thales Leitis and excuse me, there was only 2 fights total for the Spider in 2009. Damian Maia was the following April in 2010, but that was also at middleweight. So it's really just the KO of Forrest Griffin on August the 8th that we're talking about versus, and this is probably going to be when Izzy went to light heavyweight, that would have been Jan Blachowicz. Let me see. Israel Adesanya. Let's see here. We will come to an answer here very shortly. Yeah, exactly what I thought. Okay, so the loss to Jan Blachowicz. So, I would probably go Spider, man. Izzy didn't look great in that fight. Jan kind of dominated him in the grappling where he needed to, did enough on the feet to win the fight. Beating I know that skills get better, and to see prime Izzy versus prime Anderson would have been probably one of the most exciting striking matches we could have ever seen inside the UFC. Unfortunately, that will never, could never have happened just because of age. But we're talking about Anderson with a first-round knockout win and Izzy with a decision loss to Jan Blachowicz. So I'm going to go Izzy. I'm going to go Silva on that. I'm going to go Anderson Silva because he got the first round finish, would have gotten the W. What do you think? Thank you again for the donation, Ronnie. We really appreciate it. What a body kick. Combo still playing. Grad, Oliveira, Musayev, Leka, Medić. There you go, Nick. Good for you, man. Just lifted him up around his neck. Yeah, that was wild. Shout out to Moneyball. Yeah, she posted a Google Doc, but start bringing it to the live streams. Perfect. Thank you, Moneyball. I feel like Valentin is going to gas himself out. Well, yeah, he may have, but that was didn't really matter because he got that early finish. But that was a really fun grappling match to watch while it lasted. We got Todorovic and Robert Valentin together. Just saying they're basically the same guy. They would be brothers. But today they unfortunately have to fight because that's how they make a living. So lots of respect between Valentin and Todorovic. All right, guys. We got some heavyweights coming up next. Alexander Rakic, Marcin Tybura. And let me get that up in the chat now. Yeah. Ronnie said Israel fought and beat, Anderson in 2019. Yeah. So that was again, how old would have Anderson been in 2019? Because I know Anderson's pushing 50 now, or he may already be 50. Let's see. How old is Silva? Yeah, he's 51. So what are we, 2026? So -7 would have been what, 44? So yeah, that wasn't already past his prime, Silva. And that was, how old was Izzy in 2019? I mean, that would have just been prime Izzy. Let's see. Where is that fight? Yeah, Izzy's 37. So he would have been, 30 years old. So you're talking about 44-year-old Anderson Silva versus 30-year-old Israel Adesanya. So, not much of a fair fight there, but Anderson's still a dog. That fight was a decision, right? Let me see.
I think so.
Yeah. Let's see. How did that fight end? Adesanya. I think I'm almost sure it was a decision. Let me just make sure before I confirm that. (2019) Anderson Silva fight of the night decision. Yep. So if Silva's getting a fight of the night against a prime Israel Adesanya, excuse me, 14 years his junior, you would have to think that prime Silva could have beaten Israel Adesanya when he fought on the night that he fought Jan Blachowicz. So that would be my pick, my friend. All right, let's pop the next poll in the chat. We got the big boys next. Who wins this heavyweight bout? Rakic or Tibura? I'm interested to know what you guys think about this because, you know, Alexander Rakic is a pretty reasonable favorite on this fight, and he's on a 4-fight losing streak. He's been knocked out a lot of times. Maybe the thought is that he's more durable at heavyweight, not cutting as much weight. Marcin Tybura is sort of aging his way out of the UFC. He's almost 40 years old, a little bit slower. Yeah, Base says if Rakic doesn't win, he should retire. It would be 5 losses in a row. I mean, the UFC is really only keeping you around if you've got more than 4 losses or more than 3 losses in a row because they think you're somewhat marketable. And maybe they're going to give him a chance at a new weight class. But yeah, I don't think they're going to let him stick around like old Tai Tuivasa. But heavyweight is so weak, you never know. You really never know. Shout out to everybody on TikTok. Thank you guys so much for joining. I appreciate you all. And yeah, shout out to everybody here on YouTube, the home base. 2007 Matt Serra, 2026 Bilal Muhammad. Thank you again so much, Ronnie. Let's see here. Let's go back and see what Mr. Serra's 2007 looked like. I have a feeling this is going to be when he beat GSP. Yes, it is. Beat GSP, but then immediately came back and got TKO'd. How many months? Or almost 1 year exactly to the day. So Matt Serra beating GSP here in Houston, Texas. Funny, I didn't remember that fight was in Houston 20 years ago. Cool. Knockout of the night, too. First round knockout. So Matt Serra, what was the other? Bilal Muhammad. So Bilal Muhammad's not really knocking anybody out. Man, I think this one I got to go with the newer guy. Bilal Muhammad is a more complete fighter than Matt Serra was. Matt Serra is a good wrestler, but so is Bilal Muhammad. I feel like Bilal's boxing is better. I do think this is one of those ones where, like, if Matt Serra if you could take and freeze Matt Serra from 2007 in a time capsule and bring him to today's welterweight division, I don't think he's having much success. So I think the disparity here would be pretty stark. And I know Bilal's not a fan favorite, so you may hate to hear my pick here, but I think Bilal Muhammad would win that fight against Yuri. He was cracking him and troubling him on the feet, but didn't have the power to shut his lights out and wasn't able to survive the chaos. Yeah. So let's see if Rakic actually has the power at heavyweight, and maybe hopefully even more than the power, the durability, because that's the big problem with Alexander Rakic is he's just got somewhat of a glass chin. Maybe he really should have been a heavyweight all along. I just don't know. But one thing's for sure, 5 losses in a row is not going to bode well in his favor. So look for him to come out of the gate pretty hot and heavy. Let's see here. All right, guys. Shout out. We got 24 in the chat. Appreciate all of you guys watching. Let's see. What do I have left? What do you have? What combos and things do you still have out there, Chris?
Big old goose egg.
Big old goose egg.
The one I didn't do was Nick's riskiest one, and that's the one
that's gonna hit. Yeah. Nick's gonna hit a big parlay tonight, ladies and gentlemen. It seems. Medić by KO.
Yeah, that's the biggest issue with the combos is there's usually one guy or two guys that are like, they're in there because it's such a confident pick. And that's what happened.
Is the Islam versus Gary preview is getting me very excited, says Fletty. I couldn't agree more. I can't wait for that fight. The whole card itself is not the heaviest card, but it's a great main event. Took another 7 hundo off Usman leg yesterday. Usman and how do you pronounce that guy's last name? Mustafa leg yesterday. Yeah, that guy is he's exciting. Usman with the first round finish, and he's already starting the negotiation. He said, let's see. Jake Paul talks a lot of smack about Dana White not paying. Let's see what he's willing to pay. So will be interesting to see where Usman Nurmagomedov ends up. I'll make an exception for this one. Give me Sarah. So the one time that I go with Nick's thought process, he goes against me. How about that? If Medić TKOs, I will be down 36%. Seppo was everything. Bet 650, getting back 414. I'm taking it on the chin this week, says Moneyball. Yeah, Chepo was he was the one that was the buster, wasn't he? Grad walking out into the crowd is funny. Maybe he will change his name to Alex Bam Bam Rakic, and 8 in a row can still work. Maybe it's the fight name. Maybe it's the maybe he should drink a beer from a shoe, and that'll keep him in the UFC. Way to go, Nick. I personally think you deserve reimbursement from Chepo. Yeah, I think so too, Based. I'm gonna do my best to collect on that one. Let's see here. Yeah, let's pop it up there. Number 12 welterweight MVP moves down to lightweight versus 2026 Justin Gaethje. So number 12 welterweight Michael Venom Page. I think Gaethje. I mean MVP. So can MVP even make lightweight? What would he look like at lightweight? I mean, we're assuming that like he doesn't just shrink in size, but he actually has to be his self and do the weight cut. Sorry guys, I'm having a little bit of trouble here. There we go. Just almost got kicked out of the live stream on TikTok there. Apologies for that. But yeah, I think if MVP cut to 155, he would be just crazy depleted. Justin Gaethje, I do like if you think about like Douglas Lima when he beat MVP, he beat him with just really good fundamental striking, was able to pressure him and eventually knock him out. I feel like Justin could do the same thing. And then Justin could also utilize some of the wrestling we've seen in his last couple of fights with the snap down and stuff like that. I think I'd have to go Gaethje because I think MVP would be hella compromised with the weight cut, and Justin's a more complete fighter. Yeah, but interesting one. That was a very interesting one, Ronnie. But yeah, I'm going to go Justin Gaethje, 26. Yeah, Moneyball says, I like the way Armu Nurmagomedov looked in that lightweight PFL bout. Dude, Moneyball, this guy fought a friend of ours, Colton England, on short notice, and Colton is a beast. Black belt in jiu-jitsu, trains here in Houston as training partner of Nick's. And Colton said, he got finished early in that fight, unfortunately. But he's a beast. He took the fight short notice, flew out to Abu Dhabi. Everything was stacked against him. But he said it literally sounded like a gunshot went off when he kicked him in the stomach. And he said he's never been kicked that hard in his life before. It was the most painful thing he's ever experienced. That guy may be one of the best lightweights in the world. No BS. he may be top 10 lightweights in the world, and that includes the UFC. That guy is a legit fighter. Yeah, and I agree with Base. You're more likely to get Justin at welterweight, in which case I still would pick Justin. I don't think my pick would change there. I would still take Justin Gaethje to defeat MVP. I just think he's a better fighter. I'm going to grab my charger real quick, guys. If I remembered it, I may have left it at home. Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Phone's getting a little low on charge, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Okay, guys. So we are in the feature bout of the evening, just about to start here. Did I get that poll up? Okay. Very heavy on the Rakic. 86% to 14% for Alexander Rakic on this one. And that was our pick as well. I just think there's too many ways for him to win. The only question is, is he going to be underpowered and undersized at heavyweight? So if you take a look here, Rakic. All right. Yeah, Alexander Rakic definitely needs a win here. Prime Wonder Boy versus MVP would have been a better matchup. Yeah, and honestly, like, it's weird to me, Logan, that they have made the matches that they've made for Michael Venom Page, right? Because he's only got one loss in the UFC. I know that wasn't the most exciting fight, and he can be in some duds at times, but I felt like the matchmaking for him would and should have been a little bit different, but it wasn't. So we'll see. I don't know that the UFC even stays in the Michael Venom Page business once he's done with this current contract. It'll be interesting to know. That was an obvious matchup, though. Yeah, I don't know why they didn't ever make that. You would think it would be, maybe they'll make that in, maybe, both guys are out of the UFC. They'll make that in Karate Combat at some point in time. I'm sure that would be an interesting one. He'll be an afterthought. Yeah, you talking about MVP? I think the UFC signed MVP just for entertainment, not to actually give him a chance. Yeah, but it's weird because they put him against like Sam Patterson, and the matchmaking has been weird for MVP in my opinion. Like, why? I get the entertainment aspect of it, but why not give him some matchups that would be more entertaining than some of the ones that he was in? But yeah, we'll see what happens with him as he comes to the end of his contract here. Who wins in a DDP versus what are you laughing at?
Comment.
What's that? Which one?
The one you're reading.
Oh, so who wins in a DDP versus Hamzat versus Strickland versus Imavov fatal four-way? What is it? How's it, my bruh? How's it, my bruh? That's a interesting question. And I think probably DDP in that one. I think, Hamzat goes right after Strickland because he beat him and wants to get his revenge. And then DDP just sucker punch, hammer fists him a few times to the back of the head and knocks him out. And then, then he finishes Strickland off. And then it's just him versus Imavov. And at that point, I'm going DDP over Imavov. But that's a nice out of the box one. Just a, what do you call that in wrestling? Royal Rumble? DDP by apartheid. That's a Mortal Kombat matchup. Although you could argue Imavov and Hamzat team up. Now there you go, Base. Now Base is thinking outside of the box here. They kind of team up and go at. But then what if Sean and Drickus team up? I feel like Then you just got that straight up Russian style MMA where there's like a blue team on one side and a red team on the other. And there's like 5 guys aside. And, you know, once somebody gets knocked out, it's like 4 versus 5. And then, you know, God forbid, you know, you're the last guy on your team. You just get the crap beat out of you by 5 people. Yeah. Interesting question there, my friend. All right, here we go. So 14 votes in the chat. 86% for Rakic, 14 for Tybura. Rakic does look pretty big at heavyweight. I mean, he's a tall guy, right? But he doesn't look like he just put on a bunch of unnecessary fat. He does look like he put on a little bit of muscle, little bit higher body fat percentage that he's carrying around, but not anything crazy. All right. I feel like if I'm a 2 versus 5, I'm just tapping, get me out of there. Yeah, I hear you, Based. Yeah, you don't want to stick around for the beating because it's not going to be good.
Say what you will, that would be the biggest selling pay-per-view ever.
What's that, a Royal Rumble?
Yeah, the 4 people at middleweight in the cage at one time.
Yeah, it was like, hey, there's a log jam at middleweight, so what we're going to do is just put DDP, Sean Strickland, Hamzat, and Imavov in the cage at the same time. And the guy that we're going to put the belt in the middle, and the guy that walks out with it is going to be the champion. What are we even talking about here? But wouldn't that be something? Imagine Dana White trying to sell that. Like, imagine that being his oh yeah. What's up, fight fans? UFC 334. We're doing something we've never done. We got the biggest, baddest ass middleweights in the world in the octagon at the same time. That was a great question there, my friend. That gave me a good laugh. All right, ladies and gentlemen, heavyweight time. 40-year-old Marcin Tybura. 237.5 for Alexander Rakic. I do like that weight for Rakic. I think that would have been a nice weight for Pereira. You know, they're similar in stature and build, and I think Pereira put on about 15 unnecessary pounds. If he'd have come in at like 235, 237, it would have been better. To 254 for Marcin Tybura, identical reach. We got Buff in there now announcing these fighters, and then we will start this time clock and we will rock and roll on calling the fight between Marcin Tybura, the 290 plus 290 dog, and Alexander Rakic. All right, 5-5 as a UFC dog is Marcin Tybura. Tybura has looked a little bit slower and a little bit more labored in his last few fights. This is why I picked Rakic. Rakic has the unknown of never competing in the division, but at the same time, you know, when I watched Marcin's last few fights, I was like, man, he is kind of losing a step. But then look at Rakic. He's not reliable as a favorite either. Is he? 5-4 as a UFC favorite, fighting out of Austria, but from Serbia, of course, as we know. All right, guys. Here we go. We got 27 in the chat on YouTube. Thank you all for being here. Terry Hatley, the ref in charge of this one. I feel like they should have got a bigger guy for these big boys. Get Goddard in there for this one. All right, we will start this time clock here in just a second, guys. And here we go. We are underway. Alexander Rakic, Marcin Tybura. Marcin out of the southpaw. Rakic opens up with a big inside leg kick, followed up with some hands, another inside leg kick, and actually looked like for a second there Tybura switched stances, but Rakic is finding that inside leg kick really, really well. Some good boxing. There's clearly a speed advantage here for Rakic, and he seems, I mean, he's getting hit not super cleanly, right? But he has taken some shots, so we'll see. It so far looks like his chin is holding up better than it did at light heavyweight. Marcin Tybura has eaten some shots, but doesn't seem to be overly fazed by him at this point in time. All righty. Nice inside leg kick. Rakic is using that inside leg kick to sort of set up everything, and Tybura hasn't properly reacted to it yet, other than to just switch stances for a split second, and then. But I'd like to see him try to check that or get out of the way of it. But nice body kick for Rakic. That one looked like it hurt Tybura a little bit. Had a little bit of a bend over there when that happened. Nice straight right for Rakic. I like the different combinations. I like that he's going low with the kicks, going, combos with the hands, not just single shots. Seems to be a little bit faster than Tybura, and that may be his biggest, beautiful body kick there for Rakic. That may be his biggest advantage here, guys, is that he has the ability to be quicker than a lot of guys at heavyweight. Now, he'll have to do that against more than Marcin Tybura, because Marcin is a slower 40-year-old, but let's see. I don't want to speak too soon, but he seems to be kind of in command of this one. Overhand there for Rakic. Switching stance now is Alexander Rakic. Nice clean 1-2, and right back to the orthodox stance for Alexander. He's working a nice body kick in this fight. It's almost like a push kick straight to the body. He's landed it a couple of times. Good hand discipline with the striking for Rakic. Getting out of range well. I'm liking what I'm seeing so far for the heavyweight debut of Alexander Rakic. Let's see if he's got that power, though. I'd love to see him. So far, Marcin Tybura hasn't been hit by anything that I've said really would phase. Doesn't look like it's phasing him tremendously. The body kick, I think, was probably the worst. Maybe one of those low calf kicks, but I think the body kick was the worst shot that Tybura has absorbed thus far. All right. Tybura is still working the outside, trying to figure out the range and timing, switching stances a lot. I think he's having trouble with the speed and length of Rakic here a little bit. Identical reach, but Rakic is using his better. Nice little flurry there by Alexander Rakic. Tybura still looks like he's trying to figure out what his game plan is going to be. He doesn't seem to be having much success, just kind of switching stances a lot on the outside, leading with overhands, but, kind of missing by a wide margin. So far, Rakic is in control of this fight. Nice lead hook there by Rakic. Ooh, beautiful head kick by Alexander Rakic, followed up by a straight 2. But again, Tybura doesn't even seem to be phased. Inside leg kick for Rakic. I mean, that was a nice head kick, but Tybura barely even budged. Bisping saying Tybura is slowing down, but I mean, he's just kind of in the same gear he's been in the whole fight. It was a couple of flurries in the beginning, but Rakic won. Won the majority of those, and really solid first round for Alexander Rakic. Definitely in command of this fight, and could be on his way to a decision victory if these shots keep not registering on Tybura. They don't really seem to be affecting him all that much. What do you guys think in the chat? Who won that first round? Was it Alexander Rakic? That's who I have pretty clearly. 10-9 for Rakic. Got a little shot commercial going on the left-hand side, but we have a shot of Marcin Tybura here. Does appear to be sort of tired a little bit, heads down. I don't love the body language of Tybura right now. His Coach saying he needs to fight his game, not Rakic's game. Yeah, I mean, that's not bad advice. He is kind of just falling right into Rakic's cadence, timing, range. This is very much a fight that Rakic is in command of. Kat says the sting and punches are missing for Rakic. Yeah, I agree. And even that head kick didn't even look like it registered. Round one, Rakic says base, Kat, and David. Welcome to the chat, David. Thank you for being here, my friend. More output. I think Tybura is gassed already. Yeah, Tybura did not. I didn't like the body language in between rounds there for sure. Let's see what Rakic can do this round. I'd like to see him hit Tybura with something that registers. I want to see a little bit of pop on the shot to make me think that maybe he can do something fun at heavyweight. But if you don't bring the power with you when you come up to heavyweight, it's hard to have a lot of success because there's a lot of guys with crazy power at heavyweight. Tybura looking to just walk in with the jab, throwing some kicks of his own, but nothing really registering. John Anik saying Rakic cut 38 pounds in his last light heavyweight experience. I guess that just got too much for him as his career went on. 52% on the accuracy on the strikes for Alexander Rakic to just over 20 for Tybura. So Tybura is really not having any semblance of success here, guys. It was a punch. Yeah, it looked like an eye poke, but it was definitely a punch there. Let's see here. We're going to get a little replay. Oh, no. I stand corrected. It was a little bit of a raking of the fingers. Yeah, definitely an illegal move. Tybura swinging over the top there. Tybura is just, I don't like the posturing from Tybura at all. He's just switching stances constantly, collecting his feet together, not really entering in an intelligent way. And Rakic is just staying on the outside of range and, landing straight punches and landing kicks. Nice body kick again for Rakic. So far, not the most exciting fight of the night, but we've had some good ones. Tybura with a couple big swings there, but nothing really doing. Yeah, Rakic is just a step too fast. His footwork is better. Oop, looked like Tybura hit him with something there that he didn't like. We got some blood on the ear of Alexander Rakic right now. This is where we see if the chin holds up, if Tybura can land another couple shots like that. Just under 2 minutes to go in round two, guys. Tybura just having a hard time putting a clean glove on Rakic because of the elusiveness and the way he's able to move. The entries are kind of predictable. He's coming in just blitzing and Rakic is able to move out of the way of it pretty quickly or to slip under. He's had a couple of nice little slips just like that one there. Head kick for Rakic again, sort of landed on the armpit of Tybura because he lifted his hand up. Body kick for Rakic. Hook there for Tybura. Kat says Rakic should go for more body shots. I agree. He was having some success with that body kick in the first round for sure. And be good if he went back to that. This round's a little bit closer. I'll probably still give it to Rakic, but not nearly as clear. I mean, look at the significant strikes there, 29-17 in the first round, but we're 14 apiece here with just over 30 seconds left to go. Check hook there for Alexander Rakic. And we have the clap, clap. 10 seconds left. All right, that is it. Thank you guys for being here. We got TikTok, anxiety with the bat, liking the live. Thank you. I see you over there. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for being here. We got 25 strong in the chat right now on YouTube. Appreciate all of you guys over here. And yeah, how do you guys score that round? I'm interested to know. Do y'all score that last round for Tybura, perhaps? Or do you think Rakic did enough to be up 2-0? Felt like a low blow at the end. Yeah, I need to go back and see that and see if that was actually a low blow. But yeah, I'm really curious to know. Drop a comment in the chat and let me know. Do you guys think that that Marcin Tybura edged out that? Yeah, okay. So base said I'd go for Tybura for that round. So in that case, it's 1-1. Let's see what happens in the third. It very, very easily could be 1-1 in this one. All right, ladies and gentlemen, round 3. Here we go. All right. Rakic's corner telling him he was going to lose if he doesn't do something. Rakic putting some punches together in combos here. Tybura just sort of walking into range, trying to land. Low kick for each gentleman. Spinning back kick for Tybura. Landed on the arm there of Alexander Rakic. Ooh, beautiful body kick by Rakic, followed up by a nice clean jab for Tybura. 1-2 for Alexander Rakic. And Rakic just a little bit cleaner with the combos. That's kind of the story here, guys. He's just landing more. Let me know, guys. By the way, I'm taking this clip mic off because I do need to charge my phone. Let me know if you can still hear me in the chat on TikTok because I need to put this on or my phone is going to die here shortly. Drop a comment, somebody, if you can still hear me. Thank you guys so much. And so far, we're just about a minute and a half almost into this last third and final round. Alexander Rakic, slight edge here. Tybura with some decent hooks and straights over the top, but the combos have mostly been landed by Rakic. Switches stance there to southpaw, or from southpaw to orthodox just for a second, and we have some grappling against the cage now. Alexander Rakic in the dominant position, sort of hand fighting to try to get the double unders. He's got one underhook in, a couple of knees to the inner thigh there. Nice elbow over the top for Rakic. Doing a good job of maintaining strong head positioning, throwing nice elbows on Marcin Tybura. I do like the elbow activity here for Rakic. He's doing that in a very intelligent way. He's using his head to set it up, kind of feel where his opponent is, and then without much telegraphing, backing up just a hair and dropping that elbow inside. I do like that quite a bit. Nice elbow there for Rakic again. Two minutes and 20 seconds left in this fight, ladies and gentlemen, and Alexander Rakic commanding position against the cage on Marcin Tybura. Perhaps he thinks he's tied 1-1 with Marcin, and he's looking to just get this fight won against the cage because he hasn't really had much success of hurting Tybura. He's had success in the striking. He's landed a lot of shots, but Tybura hasn't seemed really fazed by him other than just being tired. We do have some blood on the face of Rakic now. I can't quite tell what it's from, but he's landed most of the shots here in this clenched position. So it could be just a scrape from rubbing heads or something like that. Rakic with the body shot. Tybura looking to wrap up somewhat of a guillotine, but Rakic immediately pulls his head out. Terry Hatley asking for activity, and then we get a shoulder strike for Alexander Rakic. Tybura really needs to do everything he can to get off the cage, because this very well could be 1-1, and Alexander Rakic is cruising away with this third round. So for sure, the first round went to Rakic, and this round is clearly going to Rakic. So if you're Marcin Tybura, I don't even know how confident you feel in having won that second round. You need to get a finish here. But looks like we have some fingers in the face or hands on top of the cage for Rakic there. But Tybura's, if I'm him, I'm doing everything I can to explode out and try to get a finish. But, because the round is pretty much conceded at this point. There's no way that Marcin Tybura is going to win this round unless he were to just get a devastating knockdown off the break. But what he really needs is a knockout. Nice knee to the body for Rakic there. Good striking. Ooh, nice knee for Tybura. Terry Hatley stopped. That actually may have favored Rakic, because that looked like a knee was, that looked like a pretty heavy knee there. And it ate up most of the time left on the clock. So we're 3 seconds left in the fight. It's probably just going to be a 29-28. The way I would score it is 29-28 for Rakic. Let me know in the comments, what do you guys think that fight should have been scored as? Let's see here. 2-0 Rakic, says Kat. Tybura for that round, says based. Cool. Thank you, Moneyball. Appreciate that. Kat says we need more elbows. Yeah, those elbows were money. That was really a nice little technique that he was utilizing in the clinch there. He timed it well. He postured back just enough to have it slip in, and then he was able to get right back to the clinch. So I like that. Pereira said in an interview he wants one fight, then the winner of Aspinall gone. Looks like Chama Hokit, #1 contender fight. Yeah, based Volk, I think that's always been the fight. That's always been the fight that the UFC's wanted to make, even since the White House. They're on the same schedule. They fought last time. So fought on the same card. So they're following the same schedule. I think 100% that's the fight to make. And that's how Rakic is now number 13 in the heavyweight division. Yeah, you're probably right, Kat, but not the most overwhelming and impressive fight. But nonetheless, he beat a ranked opponent, most likely. We'll see what the judges have to say. But, the Serbian in Serbia, can't imagine that we're going to see a surprise here. I think probably 29-28. Maybe some of the judges there give him a little home cooking and give him a 30-27. That looks like a pretty cool place. Where is that? Norwegian Cruise Lines, private island. How about that? Maybe you should take Taylor there, Chris. I've been trying to get Chris to take a forced vacation for like a good 4 or 5 months now. He works so hard. He does everything for this channel, making the edits, doing the videos, and he works like 7 days a week. And I'm like, dude, there's going to be a week where there's no UFC. We can have a lighter content week, or Nick and I can just go live more times, and then we still get to you guys as often. But he doesn't have to do as much editing. But he hasn't taken me up on the offer so far yet. But I'm trying to force him into a vacation. He's coming up on his 15-year anniversary with Taylor. So I feel like that's a big one. And let me know in the chat if you guys think that Nick and I, because we do own a third of this company. I mean, let's be real. Nick and I could bully Chris a little bit and outvote him into a week's paid mandatory vacation. So let me know in the chat what you guys think about that.
I get my vacation in 2 weeks. My jury.
Yeah, he reminded me that he's got jury duty in 2 weeks, and that's his vacation. Hardly a vacation. And also, let's see here. W's in the chat for Chris's vacation. I'll put a W in the chat for that. UFC posted first round 3 of the night, then deleted it 3 minutes later. How they'd forgotten already. Yeah, there was a base said you guys can overrule him and sack him temporarily for a week. Yeah, you're fired for a week, Chris. But yeah, it's not a bad idea, Based. So Alexander Rakic getting the decision victory in a somewhat underwhelming performance, but got his hand raised, which is really important. Had been since 2021 since he's been interviewed as the winner in the octagon. So that's got to feel good for Alexander Rakic. Bisping asking him who he wants next. He says yes to everyone. Knows that he's only fought the best opponents. It's a new chapter for his career. Looks like he's going to address the crowd in Serbian now. Let's see if Bisping asks him to translate this into English. Got a nice chant from the crowd there. All right, let's pop this one up. Ronnie's got another one for me. 2011, Bellator Mike Chandler, Iron Mike, versus 2026 Mauricio Rufy. Now, I know where my head goes immediately in this, but let's give old Iron Mike the benefit of the doubt, because Bellator does not have the strength of schedule, and I think that's been demonstrated for a long time. But let's take a look and see. 2011. Is that what 2011, Chris?
Yes, 2011 and then current.
Okay. Marcin Held, offhand, I don't know who that is. Lloyd Woodard. Okay, Patricky Pitbull, so one of the Pitbull brothers, but it was a decision. Okay, submitted Eddie Alvarez. But how old was Eddie at that time? Was that prime Eddie? I don't think so. So the submission over Eddie Alvarez is the best win by far in that stint in 2011. 4 fights, 4 wins. 2026, Mauricio Rufy. Let's see. I mean, it's basically you're talking about Rufy right now, prime Rufy. Or coming into his prime Rufy. Let's see here. So this year he's knocked out Fiziev and knocked out Mike Chandler. So yeah, I'm gonna say Rufy, man. I think Rufy is just better than. I mean, this is one of those ones too where Mike Chandler was always tenacious. The competition in Bellator in 2011 wasn't world class, in my opinion. Eddie Alvarez is a great champion. Obviously, he came over and became a UFC champion. Didn't hold the belt for long, got notoriously KO'd by the Notorious One in Conor McGregor. But I think the Rufy of today beats the 2011 Iron Mike pretty handedly. Yeah, so Chandler was 24-25. So even still, I think he wasn't – that may have been pre-prime for Chandler, even, 30-year-old Chandler maybe. But you go back and watch his fights in 2011, he was definitely stronger, faster, more powerful, never got tired, hungry, motivated, better reflexes. Mauricio Rufy was taken down and controlled and eventually submitted by BSD. Prime Chandler was an explosive elite wrestler and would probably do the same. Yeah, you make some good points, Ronnie, but I'll have to go back. Maybe for the next live, I will have watched some 2011 Mike fights because I'm just looking at, I've seen some of those fights, but it's been at minimum 6 or 7 years since I've seen one of those fights. So I'd need to go back and do a refresher. I'll go Rufy, but you make some solid points, my friend. And thank you so much for the donation. I really, really appreciate it. All right, guys, we are at the co-main event already. Yeah.
Yuri just acted.
A little highlight of Yuri getting slimed by by Carlos Ulberg after he had done everything to win the fight. All he had to do is just back up. Navajo Sterling. Guys, so interesting statistic on this one. I was doing a little bit of research when I was making predictions. And I only went back 10 years, but I was just looking at how many times there's been a fight in the UFC where there was a 15-year or more age gap between the two fighters. And I think the biggest in the last 10 years was only 16 years. Navajo Sterling is 15 years younger than Jan Blachowicz. And there was 11 fights that I could find. And the younger fighter won 9 out of those 11 times. Shout out to Mana Boy Martinez, a friend of the channel's, who has been on the show before. He actually was one of the 9 that had a win over Guido Cantonelli, the 43-year-old Italian, I believe it is, leg kicker. And, you know, so the overarching story here is obviously the younger guy wins most of the time. Now you look at Jan Blachowicz' last couple of fights, he's got draws and split decision losses to Alex Pereira. That was the split decision loss. The draw to Magomed Ankalaev and Bogdan Guskov. So he's fighting high-level competition. Navajo Sterling's best win is a knockout against Ion Cutelaba. So definitely not the same as far as that goes. But yeah, I just thought that was interesting that the 15-year age gap is so infrequent to see that I thought it was worth looking a little bit further into. And for those of you that were wondering, 9-2 is the unsubscribed and channel reported. Okay. Don't know what that was about, my friend, but sorry to hear that. The fight will show us if Sterling can challenge for a belt or stay around ranked 10th. Agreed. Yeah. So we will see here if Navajo Sterling is the real deal. Jan Blachowicz is aging out of the division and aging out of the sport entirely. But, you know, the reality of the matter here is he's 43 years old. Father Time is undefeated, and we will see what happens in this fight. I think if Jan Blachowicz drops this one, it's probably time to call it. Still believe Jan won that fight. Talking about the Alex fight, I assume. Yuri got black belts in Showing Mercy and in Samurai Honor. Yeah, yeah. Man, that Yuri KO still haunts me. Yeah, I hear you, Kat. How would you pick between Yuri and Asmat? I don't know offhand. Gut says Yuri, but the unsubscribed and reported comment was random and hilarious. Yeah. You know, Ronnie, I don't have any idea what that was about or what I could have possibly been reported for. You know, before I've had somebody say they could see the like the stream and the neon behind me. So, you know, that wasn't, they were being friendly. They were like, hey, I don't want you to get flagged. I don't remember who it was that said that, but maybe that would be what it's for. I don't know. Weird comment. Orthodox is cool. No idea what his or her problem was, but certainly sad to see them go. Random as can be, that is for sure. Could you see Jan in something like Dirty Boxing or Bare Knuckle? For sure. I mean, that could be, you know, somewhere. Do I want to see him in that? Let's see how he looks tonight. But, you know, if he needs to go cash a few checks and, you know, Bare Knuckles paying, you know, guys that are former UFC champions pretty good money. I know a few BKFC guys that are boxing champions and stuff that have done well over there. So, yeah, that's very possible that he could end up there. Would I want to see it? Probably not. I like to see guys retire, you know, before they really start to take unnecessary beatings. And Jan's a legend. I'm a big fan of his. So, you know, I will certainly watch it, but am I dying to see it? Not necessarily. Throw Fleddy's comment up on the screen if you don't mind. Thank you, Fleddy. Reported for being goated. I don't know what that was. Yeah, I don't either, my friend, but thank you. That's a goated comment right there. I wanted to put it up on the screen for just a second. That person probably was on drugs. Yeah, maybe so, Johnny. Maybe so. You never know. It's a weird world in the comments. I don't take as many strays as Nick does, though. Nick, I guess, has got a very punchable face. Everybody likes to attack Nick in the comments, but not me so much. Man, if you really don't like the channel, why even bother coming here and still write in the chat? Probably an attention seeker. Yeah. Why is there a New Zealand fighter named after a Native American tribe? Start asking the right questions. I don't know, man. I didn't name him. but I don't know what your issue is. Yeah, I went from 20.7K subs all the way down to 20.7K subs. But yeah, I mean, so Navajo Sterling's name is the issue here. I don't know. I'm confused, my friend. I am color me genuinely confused. All righty. Guys, we will get that time clock up. Let me get the poll started here. Who wins the co-main? Sterling. Blachowicz. BLACHOWICZ. Chris throwing these up on the screen helps me tremendously. This has been one of those pronunciation and spelling ones that has been a doozy for me, if I'm being honest. All right, guys, co-main event, here we go. Navajo Sterling, 28 years of age, 6'4", 205 pounds, 1 inch reach advantage over Jan with 79 inches. And then, of course, Jan Blachowicz, 43 years of age, 6'2", 205 pounds with a 78-inch reach. Here we go.
Coach had to get a swig of water from
Yeah, coach is sweating here. Native American Sterling, says Ronnie. Yeah, I guess maybe that's what you'd prefer me to call him. I don't know, my friend. Sort of an odd thing to be upset with me about. Take it up with Navajo Sterling's parents, my friend. All righty. Navajo Sterling being announced right now, and we got Jan Blachowicz up next. "29 wins, 11 losses. The famous Polish power. They say the power is the last thing to go. Will that be on display tonight? Will Navajo Sterling be able to get past the absolutely ruthless Polish power? Let's see here. You should have seen a guy a few weeks ago on the Prediction Monday. Clearly didn't like you for some reason. Yeah, I was in and out of that based because that's, I was putting my son to bed around that time. So I was, on and off of the chat, Logan. And yeah, it would, apparently there's a few people that just don't like me. Orthodox wants to know, how do I contact his parents? I don't know, man. Shoot him a message on Instagram would be my my best recommendation to you. I hope he doesn't look like Derek Lewis here. Let's see. All right, guys, we got the time clock going. Head kick for Navajo Sterling, but he falls. Jan Blachowicz on top. Sprawling, looking to take the back, but Sterling is right back to his feet. Got Blachowicz against the cage. So far, I'm not hating the speed out of Jan. So I was worried that he was going to look a little slow, but he hasn't looked all that slow on the feet thus far. Good head pressure there for Navajo Sterling. Looking to get an outside leg trip. Okay, we have a little separation. Let's see what happens here. Inside leg kick for Navajo Sterling. Low calf kick for Sterling. Jan is advancing, but not really throwing much. But Navajo's clearly respecting. He's got respect for Jan's power. He's backing up without Jan even throwing anything. Looked like Jan hit him with something there. Uh-oh. Famous Polish power. Sterling seems to be recovered pretty well.
Is Jan really ranked number 4?
Yeah, Jan's number 4. I mean, he's like, if you look at who he's lost to and who he's had draws with, it's literally the who's who.
Yeah.
Champions, former champions, split to Pereira. A lot of people think he won that fight. Jan's still got the power, man. This is a dangerous fight for Navajo. Navajo still moving around the outside. Beautiful body, beautiful lead body uppercut for Sterling there. Jab for Sterling. Sterling's working a nice inside calf kick. Ooh, beautiful straight two for Navajo Sterling. That one dropped, John. Big elbows over the top. Jan wrapped up the full guard. Let's see if you, ooh, nice elbows getting through for Sterling here. Ooh, that one opened up the eye of Jan Blachowicz. Bad. Oh, wow. Man, Jan is leaking. The doctor, there's no way the doctors are going to let this go if it's not going to make it. That's it. Wow. Navajo Sterling. Good Lord, look at Jan's face. Absolutely brutal finishing sequence there. Finishing, little segment on the ground, knocked down with a nice straight 1-2 that put Blachowicz down, and then just beautiful elbows and punches from the guard position to end the show. Nasty, nasty stuff for Navajo Sterling.
That's how those Native Americans do it.
All right. I hope he doesn't look like Derek Lewis here. Yeah, he kind of did, unfortunately. I don't think Jan wins if he does go decision, though. Yeah, this dude got to be a troll. Oh, man, that was nasty. He's leaking. Wow, well played, Navajo. Love John, but this was tough to see, says Nick. Totally agree, bro. It's over for Jan. Not how he should go out. Yeah, Fleddy, I tend to agree with that. Yeah, based. Good call, bro. Told you in Moneyball on Thursday, I think you guys are a bit tough on Navajo. Yeah, I mean, he's the real deal. Congratulations to him. What a statement, man. Even the current and previous champions weren't able to do that dirty to Jan. Yeah. Jan was talking about a retirement fight, wasn't he? And then he had an injury, and you hate to see him go out like that, but that's got to be it, right, guys? I mean, there's no way that you can have Jan in there. Ortho, I don't know what your deal is, man, but I'm definitely not doing that. We're just commenting on fights here, bro. All right, let's see what we got here. Quick co-main, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see, where is Nick? Is Nick going to make it here in time for the main event? Yeah, I'm afraid that let me see here.
Yeah, let Nick know we got some coffee.
Yeah, Nick, we got the coffee ready, bro. Come on through. Navajo saying it was an absolute honor to share the ring with Jan Blachowicz.
If you just keep an eye on that live, just make sure nothing happens to it. I'm going to go ahead and set Nick up.
All right, guys. Chris is going to get Nick's thing set up, so he's actually going to make it for the main event, hopefully. And then we will react live together to the main. And then, as always, guys, we will cut the stream. And then after about 5 to 10 minutes, we will reconfigure the room and we will go live again. But this time it'll be an immediate recap of the fight. Fleddy says, how far does this push up Jan? way far, I think. Probably, what was he, number 4? Maybe 10, 11. I don't know. We'll see. It's going to depend on how if it's the meta rankings or the media rankings. It'll be interesting to see what happens to him on Tuesday. Let's see here. Now we can put the poll in for who wins the main. Medić or D-Rod? Yo, what's up? What's up, Joey? Good to hear from you, my friend. Welcome to the chat. Ronnie says 2020 Jan would have run through Sterling. Maybe. Joey says, how did Sterling do? He dominated, man. Jan landed a couple of decent shots in the beginning, and I was like, okay, maybe power is the last thing to go, as they say. Maybe that famous Polish power is going to carry him through this one, but no. Navajo dominated. He had him against the cage in the clinch, picked his shot, landed a beautiful 1-2 that knocked Jan down, and just had some brutal ground and pound finish that was, elbows and punches from the guard that cut Jan open. David, who did he call out? I was talking over it, so I couldn't hear. Somebody let me know in the chat who he called out. All right. And I have Medić by knockout in the main event, ladies and gentlemen. Medić by knockout. I think D-Rod, I like D-Rod, but I mean, let's be real. He spent the better part of the last year in jail, not eating protein by his own admission because the food wasn't up to snuff. He was, had a couple of guys holding pads for him, hitting a makeshift double in bag, but that's not really like a training camp, right? That's not like, Uros Medić, who I'm sure has been dialed in on the diet, dialed in with the sparring partners on the feet, the grappling partners on the ground, the wrestling, the cage work. I mean, you name it. And so I think Uros Medić said the writing's on the wall here for him to get a big knockout in the I picked round 1. I think Moneyball, if you're still in the chat, did you pick round 1 as well? We may just save ourselves with some of our picks here if Medić gets that round 1 knockout. Uros Medić, method of victory, knockout.
Can you just monitor for a minute?
Yes, sir.
Real quick.
Let's see here. It's not Monday, but Sterling should Roundtree Jr. in December or January. Yeah, I like that, Johnny. That's not a bad one. Maybe you did Nick's job for him. Oh, he called out Roundtree and Costa before 2027. There we go. Thanks, Based. I like that. Yeah, and thanks, David. He called out Roundtree and Costa if they want to fight this year. Yeah, but that's exactly what you got to do. Point your attention at the top. Roundtree and Costa more so than Roundtree. Has got a lot of hype around him right now. Roundtree's a really good option as well. I like both of those options. Really, really solid call outs by Navajo. All right. Let's see here.
I'll have to check there's a YouTube channel and he records everybody's picks to know who the best picks are. I'll have to keep an eye out and see if he puts you at Moneyball in there.
Is that right?
It's called UFC Pick Tracker or something like that.
Most first round finishes, and it wouldn't surprise me if he had one in the main event too, says Based. Yeah. Johnny says Costa should be fighting Ank for the interim or the title. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I'd like to see Costa and Ank fight. Who knows what's going to happen with Carlos, when he's going to come back. I mean, obviously, he shouldn't be stripped. He even if you do strip him, let him come right back for a title shot, but just do an interim and then have Carlos fight the winner of that, keep the division on churning. But Sterling's a really promising prospect, man. Really, really is. All right, we're watching a little build-up here of Daniel Rodriguez and Uroš Medić. Let's see here. Let me turn this thing up a little bit. Showing some highlights of D-Rod knocking out Kevin Holland. Telling the story of how he ended up in jail. Showing some B-roll footage. But he does look really skinny in that footage. He looks like he's filled back out a little bit since he's been out, but yeah, he's a tough customer, but I feel like this is going to be his toughest challenge yet. And Medić is he's too dialed right now. What's it, 4 first-round finishes, first-round knockouts for Medić? D-Rod saying he likes to be the underdog. Anchorage, Alaska, fighting out of Anchorage, Alaska. Johnny, I could not agree more, man. We've said that a few times on the show. Medić versus Prates is a banger fight. I really hope we get to see that at some point. Carlos is a few steps above Medić as far as the queue goes for fighting for titles and such. But, if Medić gets a big win tonight and maybe one more big win, we could see that fight. I would love to see that. The Doctor is a very underappreciated nickname. I agree, Fletty. He said it's because he sends the nurse in when you fight him. So I like that. It's a cool fight name. Our dad is a doctor, so I like it just a little extra because of that. But he is surgical, to use a doctor term, with those punches, man. He's nasty. He says, we have a problem, and it's me. I am the problem. Uroš Medić. This is going to be an interesting main event, man. I think we know the way this is going to go, but D-Rod is a dog. I just think he's too slow, a little bit too predictable with some of his punches, and doesn't throw the combos as well as somebody like a Prates or somebody like a Morales. I think Prates would give Medić a harder time than Morales, if I'm being totally honest. I think that Carlos Prates is the harder fight there. And here we go, ladies and gentlemen. The walkout is upon us. Let's see. Did I get that poll? Dude, how much did Medić improve his English skills? His accent seems entirely gone. Yeah, it's fantastic. He speaks great English. Let's see. Where's the poll here? Do we have the poll up, Chris?
Oh, let me check. D-Rod should have walked out the locked up by
Akon.
Yeah.
All right, we got D-Rod walking out right now. Silent crowd. You got to think the crowd is going to go nuts when Medić walks out.
Yeah.
I can't see it for some reason.
15 votes.
All right, I just heard the doorbell ring. You know what that means, guys. That means Nick is probably here just in time for the main event. D-Rod about to get hit with some booze. Man, this Serbian crowd has been on it all night. That was a full stadium from the first moment of the first fight of the night. Brownie boy D-Rod's going to wow the world with his jail skills. Yeah, man. Wouldn't that be something? I just don't think he had enough proper training to be able to do much there. 8 months out of the last year in prison. So he's really only been out 4 months. And, you know, it's, if he lost all that muscle from the, you know, lack of protein and everything, it was probably 2 months of just getting back to baseline before you're really talking about making any improvements. So it's a tight turnaround for D-Rod.
Whoa now.
Yo. Uh-oh. Look what the cat dragged in, ladies.
Like it's time for the main event.
The chat just went from 30 to 2. Yeah.
Oh, man. We got more trolls in there.
What's up, Nick?
Did you remove that fool?
I did. I removed him. I got tired of him. So
good.
Yeah, I just
orthodoxy is uncool.
I'm old, man. My patience runs thin with people these days. I used to let stuff go back in the day. Now I don't have the strength and energy to argue with people. I just got to remove them. Yeah. What's up, everybody? Everybody W's. Oh, they're all leaving, Nick.
Oh, man. See you guys.
All right, Nick's got to leave.
Sorry, I spoiled the party.
Moneyball said, Nick in the house.
Yo.
Kat said it'll be crazy if D-Rod pulls this off. Fletty says, yo. And Fletty says there's got to be something with Medić. Finish calling it a doctor's stoppage. There you go.
Oh, yeah.
That's a great one, Fletty. All of his finishes should be doctor stoppage.
That would be nice.
This ain't Big Stan. DJ yo, brother. You're getting a bunch of yo-yos in the chat.
Yo, what up, everybody? I'm going to answer from here instead of from the phone now. What's going on? I've been hanging, but you guys know me. I'm a night owl.
Yeah, so, Based says, Nick's here. I'll catch you guys later.
Oh, man. Well, you know, I guess I have a punchable face. We were talking about that earlier, huh?
Yeah, so
it makes sense.
Who was hating me and your Monday matchmaker? Base said somebody was going after me on the Monday matchmaker.
Oh yeah, some guy said I prefer you over. Or was it the other way?
Oh yeah, well I don't have a problem with that.
They prefer Nick over me.
No, I think they told Nick they prefer you over him or something.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't hate them for having bad taste, but they didn't say anything offensive.
No, but. If you think the hate over here is bad, just come over to TikTok sometime or Instagram because it gets
nasty over there.
Yeah. But the one of the posts this past week was hilarious on Instagram. We had Jamal Hill and Violent Bob Ross, which his name was
Luis Pena.
Luis Pena, just savaging people in our comment section. So it's always nice when you have the cosign from people like that. Jamal Hill, former champion. Bob Ross,
not former champion, but he had a little bit of legal trouble.
I think a lot of bit of legal trouble.
Not enough to stop
almost as much as apparently this channel is going to have, according to that hater.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know what we're reported for, but somehow we are. Yeah, real quick before Medić walks out, Ronnie, thank you again so much for the donation, my friend. 2009 Dan Henderson versus 2026 DDP. Oh, see, Nick answers before you even go to Tapology.
Yeah.
Dan Henderson. Let me see. Dan Henderson was a beast, bro.
Yeah, he was, but he fights like somebody in a bar.
Oh, come on. He's an All-American.
Compared to now?
I mean, I'm probably going DD. Okay. It was was it 2009? Is that what he said? 2009?
2000.
Yeah, 2009. So that was the brutal Michael Bisping knockout.
Yeah, believe you me.
So believe you me, DDP. that was a nasty one. So Rich Franklin split decision, and Michael. Yeah, I'm going DDP in this one, my friend.
For sure.
I like Hendo. I really do.
Yeah,
55 years young now. Look at Dan Henderson go. But Chris just informed us that he was the first embedded that he ever did.
For some reason, saying Henderson made me think. It's Ronnie that asked that, right? Ronnie, hit me with one with Benson Henderson. Because maybe I don't know who you're going to compare him to for today's world, but give me something. Because I think that'd be a fun one.
Benson, yeah, I was a big fan of Benson back in the day.
Hendo, yeah.
Smooth Benson Henderson.
He fights with a toothpick in his mouth.
He did used to do that, didn't he?
Isn't that crazy?
MMA was a wild world back in the day.
That is like, if they could have let him like actually continue doing that, that's like one of the most insane gangster things you can do.
Yeah, like
Tommy McMillan should pick that up. Just start putting a toothpick in.
Or as Tim Welch says, bird to the eyes.
Bird to the eye.
Overhand, yeah.
I sat and watched that video like 3 times.
Yeah, that was I binge watched that. It's just so funny.
Bird to the eye.
Yeah, if you guys haven't seen Tim Welch's video where he breaks down Tommy McMillan's
bird to the
eyes technique, I'll let you, your imagination run wild on what bird to the eyes means. But Tim Welch does a great job of breaking that Tommy McMillan technique down. So Kat says she's going DDP as well. Ronnie says, has DDP ever fought anyone that has H-bomb type power? Hendo is a legit wrestler and could stuff DDP's takedowns. Hendo did have an iron chin. That is true. Able to take big, heavy shots from Rampage, Vitor. Yeah, you make some really solid points, Ronnie. I'm not going to lie, man. I'm really not. But, yeah, I think 2016 CM Punk versus Anderson Silva. Oh, that's CM Punk for sure.
Yeah. For a second, I was like calibrating my brain. I'm like, wait, CM Punk. Oh, yeah.
Dan Henderson.
And here's my thing. I'm glad that you said CM Punk.
He's got a couple of Bendo matchups. We're going to get him.
Good. I had a thought. So I know we're not covering MVP, PFL, whatever that was.
Well, we haven't yet, but we'll probably talk Usman when we get together tomorrow.
Yeah, but Usman Nurmagomedov really shoved it right in Jake Paul's face. Khabib took the belt from him, all that stuff. And then my thought goes to, well, I guess if it's all about money, maybe he will stay with the PFL. We don't know what they're going to offer. We don't know what the UFC is going to offer. But then I start to think, the Nurmagomedov last name is so big in this sport that it might actually be one of those situations where, yes, people look at the base pay for debuting UFC guys at 10-10, 12-12, whatever it is they come in with, even big names like Paddy the Baddy, who were making 12-12 on their debut. Then you look at what they did with CM Punk.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying Usman is as big of a star as CM Punk. He's not obviously not coming over from the WWE, but they were willing to give him enough money. Well, I'm guarantee you CM Punk didn't get 10-10 to show up. It was probably $1 million flat. So if they're willing to give Usman anything close to that, he's got to be thinking about coming over to the UFC.
I think he's coming to the UFC. Yeah. I think he wants to be, look at what becoming UFC champion did for Khabib's legacy and how much money Khabib made because of that.
Right.
Like these guys are big stars in Dagestan, but they'll like to win a UFC belt, especially in the 155 division, especially if your last name's Nurmagomedov. It increases everything across the board. Like even so much so as if you're not even like, let's say the UFC pays him $700,000 and PFL pays him $1 million, he'd still probably make more with the UFC because of endorsements, how his social media would grow.
If he gets the belt, then it's millions.
I still think that the UFC is the best matchup for him.
And think about how big of a fight like Usman Nurmagomedov versus Arman Tsarukyan or Usman Nurmagomedov versus Ilia Topuria. Because we're never going to get Islam now because I don't think Ilia is going to go up to 170, especially not while Islam's still fighting. But we still kind of want to see the Dagestan versus Georgia showdown. Yeah. And you can still get that with Usman.
Yeah, it's a good point.
There's instantly great fights for him.
Yeah. Fletty says D-Rod has so many tattoos, surely he can take some hits. Yeah.
He can take some licks.
That's actually a scientific fact. If you have head tats, you have a better chin.
Yeah.
He's got plenty.
I would say so. And the only guy rivaling him was Chepo, which what the hell, man?
Yeah, Chepo really
laid an egg.
He'll come over for the legacy of Abdul Manap, says Logan. Yeah, well said, my friend.
Yeah,
well said.
Well, and he's saying legacy doesn't pay the bills. And so I see that, and I'm like, all right, well, I hope that doesn't mean he's just going to take the biggest offer. Because I think the UFC, especially after seeing what they did with Robelis Despain, who did not have a good showing in the UFC, they got rid of him and then quickly signed him back. They're going to be looking to put a fork in the road any way they can for Jake and MVP and PFL.
Yeah.
So I think that if you can take their best talent, look, let them keep Dakota. After her going to a decision with a 7-5 girl at 37 years old, I don't know if there's really that much interest in her coming over to the UFC.
I think there is. I think they'll bring Dakota. No, are they going to pay her the $1 million that PFL pays her? No. Probably not. So maybe in that sense, she stays over there. But I think the UFC does want Dakota. She's marketable. Even though her win last night wasn't that dominant performance that we kind of hoped for, she's still in a very light women's division in the UFC, a marketable fighter.
Yeah, sure. But I think that if they're going to invest in somebody, PFL, it'll be her over Usman.
For sure. Let's see here.
All right. I just need Euros to get this one done.
Here we go. Bruce Buffer is an all-timer. There we go. Buffer the GOAT. Who will even come close, says Moneyball. I don't know. I don't know if anybody will come close. All right. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Medić, Daniel Rodriguez.
Well, it doesn't look like he's concealing either. It looks like he's already looking for some explosive techniques to start this fight.
Well, Euro said this is going to be the weigh-ins yesterday. This is going to be a first-round knockout. Nice leg kick for D-Rod. Knocked Medić off the feet, but I think that was more of a balance thing. But Medić, big shot for Medić. D-Rod's down. Oh my goodness.
Well, it's all
that is
over,
all
folks.
over. 30 seconds into round number 1. Uroš Medić knocks out Daniel Rodriguez in brutal fashion.
Makes it look easy.
5 first-round knockouts in a row.
None as impressive as that.
Somebody, who was it that said that? I want to give them the proper shout-out they deserve.
I think that 8 months in prison.
Johnny, yeah. So Medić versus Prates, Medić versus Morales. I got to see either one or both of those fights. But Medić versus Prates, to me, I said it. Medić is the dark. That's pretty cool.
Somebody lit something on fire in the
Let's
arena.
hope that's like an employee doing something.
That's just standard Russian activity right there.
That is pretty wild stuff there. But shout out to the Serbian crowd. That stadium has looked like that since the opener on the prelims.
Yeah. And all the way up to the top. You know, some of these European and foreign arenas that they go to don't have the lighting set up like America's arenas where you can't really see that high. Yeah. You can see all the way up to the nosebleeds, and they're full.
And it's been full, yeah. Logan, shout out to you. He's up 5 bands. Thank you very much.
Come on. That's amazing.
Yeah, maybe his brother Michael's getting ready to rumble. I like Michael Buffer, but I don't think he touches Bruce, to be honest with you. Fire Creek, haha. David Weber says, oh, well, WTF. I think that was a flare, says Base. Yeah, it looked like it.
How do you get that past
Fleddy's calling it here. Thanks for the stream. Thank you, Fleddy. Have a great day, my friend. Enjoy the rest of it. Thank you for being here. All right, I think we're going to call it here in just a second after we hear what Medić has to say. And then, of course, guys, there's 30-some of you in the chat right now, we are going to cut the live stream, but don't go anywhere. Give us 10 to 15 minutes. We set the room back up to the podcast style that we do, and then we give our live reactions as well. So we're going to go immediate Serbia live reaction here in about 10 or 15 minutes after we cut this live. So we're going to hear what Medić has to say, cut, and then make sure you come right on back for that if you are able, if your schedule permits.
Yep. Serbia seems like it's a good time. They were all the commentary team was talking about how they were eating at good restaurants and enjoying the
the commentary said nothing but good things about Serbia. All right, guys. Bruce Buff announcing 30 seconds into the very first round.
He's got to have a name on the tip of his tongue.
Yeah. All right, let's see who Medić calls out.
He should say, give me 2 weeks, give me the Philly, and give me Michael Morales. Backups for the main event.
He could go to Philly. I mean, he took 0 shots. Uroš. Bisping saying the love that they have for him in the building is ridiculous. 30 seconds is all it took.
Taking a second to breathe.
He doesn't even know what to say. Listen to that crowd. I mean, this is a big moment, right? The UFC's only been to 33 countries. They expanded a new territory.
And look at how look at how respectful the crowd is. Most of the time people are just filing out quickly, but they're all standing there listening.
Dude, the Europeans, in so many ways, as fans, do things better than we do sometimes.
Yeah.
You go to Vegas, the stadium's empty. Look at that.
They're late to the prelims and they're early to leave the main event here in America.
He's speaking in, is it Russian that he speaks, or?
I mean, I'm sure it's some sort of Serbian dialect of Russia.
He doesn't even know what to say. He's at a loss for words. This is a real candid interview here.
Got the job done.
Yeah. He wants to cry, yeah.
He did it in front of his people. That's a really cool thing. Serbia's got to get him back over there soon.
Yeah. He said 9 years is a long time. He left as a student at 22 years old. And he left. He went built himself up, and now he's back in his home country. Dedicates the victory to his Lord and Savior. All those years. So I guess he hasn't been back to Serbia, Nick, in 9 years, at least from what he's saying.
Who knows what that is? Travel stuff. It could be difficult to go back and forth. I don't know.
Now he's getting serious.
I'm going to cook the rest of the division.
The rest of this division. There we go. He said, with you guys by my side, we're going to bring the belt to Serbia. I've loved every bit of this Serbian card, Nick.
Yeah, it's been
The
great.
fans, the knockouts, the finishes, the subs.
Yep. Great showing all around. Even though they didn't win all the fights, they all had entertaining fights.
Yeah. Prates. But he says he's way ahead of me in the division.
Leon Edwards is in hiding.
Ooh, wow. There we go. Whoa. So what a great. So he said, I asked for that. That's understanding awareness of the division too. He said, I asked for Prates, but he's ahead of me in the division. I get that. So if Leon Edwards wants to come out of hiding, I can knock him out too. There we go. He's just saying, I don't know what to say. I love you, everybody. All right, let's pop this one up from Ronnie, and then we will reconfigure the room. And
they can let they can take all the time they want interviewing him, because he took 30 seconds to win the fight. He was scheduled for 25, so he could have kept going for another 20 minutes.
Seriously. Hot damn Uroš Medić, says David Weber. Okay, here we go.
Right, New Jersey.
So Ronnie says 2012 Benson Henderson. So you're getting your Benson Henderson wish versus 2026 number 7 lightweight Renato Moicano. Let's look at that real quick. 2012 Benson Henderson, right?
Fun fight. Now that one seems like I could go the other way.
You have
just
to.
Depends.
Let's see. 2012. So 2012. Well, he had an active, somewhat. Okay, so decisioned Frankie Edgar twice. One of them split. And decisions Nate Diaz in 2012. And let's look at Renato.
Uroš is the guy, man.
I love Benson Henderson, so I'm trying not to be biased here. 2020, is it 2026, Moicano?
Yes.
So just a submission of Chris Duncan, kind of basically Moicano right now. I don't know. I think I'm going the 2 wins over Frankie, the answer, Edgar, and Nate Diaz. I think I got to go Bendo in this one.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, Moicano is a bit of a specialist, but he is kind of durable,
But so is Benson.
Yeah, Benson
he was,
durable.
especially back then.
Yeah. I think you'd get an all-time great fight.
Yeah, that would actually be a great fight, Ronnie. But I'm going to go Benson Henderson. And Logan, Base, David, all of you guys, Moneyball, Fletty was already in the chat, already bounced. Joey, anybody that I'm missing, Brian, thank you guys so much. We appreciate everything. And we will see you guys in the immediate recap here in about 15 minutes. So
pop back in.
Just pop back in. Give us a second to reconfigure the room, and we will be going live again with our immediate thoughts and reaction. Thank you so much, and we'll see you there.
Peace.